Hello and welcome to this special edition on Doordarshan. I am Taposh Bhattacharya and today we are going to discuss India's biofuel policy in threadbare and why it is making such a buzz internationally. Prime Minister Narendra Modi recently inaugurated a second-generation ethanol refinery in Panipat. This has catapulted India in the select few countries which has the technical know-how to pull off such a humongous task.
आठ साल पहले हमारे देश में इथेनॉल का उत्पादन सिर्फ 40 करोड़ लीटर के आसपास होता था। आज करीब करीब 400 करोड़ लीटर इथेनॉल का उत्पादन हो रहा है। इतनी बड़ी मात्रा में इथेनॉल बनाने के लिए कच्चा माल हमारे किसानों के खेतों से ही तो आता है। खासकर गन्ना किसानों को इससे बहुत बड़ा लाभ हुआ है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi dedicated the second-generation 2G ethanol plant set up at the Indian Oil Corporation's Panipat refinery in Haryana. Spanning 35 acres, this 2G ethanol biorefinery is capable of processing 2 lakh tons of rice straw annually to generate around 3 crore litres of ethanol using Praj Industries technology. While benefiting more than 1 lakh farmers, this biorefinery is expected to create around 1,500 jobs for rural youth. Importantly, it will help address the major challenge of stubble burning related pollution by eliminating around 3,20,000 metric tons of CO2 every year, which is equivalent to replacing nearly 63,000 cars on the road annually. This second-generation biorefinery alone will save foreign exchange worth INR 55 to 60 crores every year that is otherwise incurred on fuel imports. This project will give a boost to Make in India initiative and help achieve 20% ethanol blending. Doordarshan team decided to do an in-depth analysis of biofuels and spoke to all the stakeholders in order to understand the importance of having a varied energy basket.
What emerging is the bioeconomy. And this bioeconomy word, actually we coined it ourselves from Praj side. I was the chairman of CII's Biofuel Committee, and we thought it's not only the biofuels, it's the entire ecosystem which will be playing a role. The entire ecosystem is to do with the use of biofuels, the farming community for growing the various feedstocks, and then making other products, additional products from this variety of biofuels. Bioeconomy can contribute to the overall economy basket, energy basket, and all those things. We feel that bioeconomy will be $100 billion worth of business by 2025, and by 2030 it could be about $300 billion business. So in our 5 trillion pursuit, it will play an important role in time to come. So this is also helping to recycle the carbon or decarbonization. So both things are equally applicable, and all this is being taken care of. So one side is the farmer. Second most important thing is the import of oil can be reduced or can be stopped. So that is an in-between block. The third is climate action, decarbonization, carbon recycle. and rural upliftment. So this is a one in all kind of a benefit holistically it can give to the country.
The Union Cabinet has advanced the mandate for 20% ethanol blend in petrol and diesel, primarily targeting the industrial and the transport sector. This is one of the steps that intends to help India become self-sufficient in energy production while achieving the commitment of reducing carbon emission to net zero by 2070.
The fuel derived from the biomass of plants or animal waste is known as biofuel. Biofuels, both in gaseous and liquid form, are environment friendly as they trigger carbon neutral cycle upon combustion. In the social context, the collection of agricultural waste as feedstock creates employment in rural areas and is an alternative sustainable revenue stream for farmers that boosts the rural economy. Rural entrepreneurship gets a fillip to build a robust ecosystem to facilitate supply chain for feedstock, bioaggregations and transportation.
As biofuel is adopted by the transportation and manufacturing industries, there will be an increased demand for feedstock. The industry is expected to see a revolution, and with the right amount of push, India could become the leader in the field.
Biofuels are complementary to fossil fuels and therefore utilize existing infrastructure and ecosystem of the internal combustion engine dominated automotive industry. Ethanol produced from sugary, starchy and cellulosic feedstock is a widely used biofuel in India.
I have seen that there has been continuous progress in this sector, and this year alone we have crossed a turnover of 1 lakh crores in the state. This has helped farmers ultimately is, see, for last 3 years my FRP arrears for the farmers were to the tune of 3,000 to 4,000 crores. This year we have almost paid 99.98% of FRP to the extent of 48,000 crores. It's a huge amount. Now that is where we can see the role of ethanol blending program and how is adding to the cash flow of the mills. The strategy is twofold. It is both way, trying to cover every sugar mill, whether it is cooperative or private, for ethanol blending program, and at the same time we are trying to have maximum output from sugar-based molasses.
The Government of India approved the National Policy on Biofuel in 2018, which aims at 20% of ethanol blending and 5% of biodiesel blending by 2030. As per a report by government, from 38 crore litres of ethanol procured during 2013-14, it jumped nearly 8 times to 322 crore litres in 2021-22. It was calculated that an estimated over 26,509 crore rupees was saved from 2014 to 2021 by the blending. Ethanol blended fuel is not new in India. For over a decade now, petrol has been mixed with ethanol, albeit in small quantities of about 2 to 3%. Since low levels of ethanol, roughly around 10%, have no detrimental effects on current internal combustion engines, ethanol doping was done to lower India's crude oil import bill. Over the past few years, this doping level has increased to about 10%, which the government plans to take up to 20% by 2025.
The journey of E20, as we look ahead, India's import dependence to reduce, the flex fuel is a very critical part, I think, and this is rightly observed and rightly noted by the ministry, the government, and there is a roadmap being rolled out on that is also currently being discussed. Once the E20 stabilizes, that is the supply of ethanol and 20% pan-India basis stabilizes, the flex fuel can always be rolled out. Parallelly, in order to see that the larger volumes of production of ethanol are addressed or are being taken care, the flex fuel is a good gap arrangement. We have been, the regulatory requirements, like what are the norms required and all that, these are put into place as of now. So we know if it is a flex fuel beyond E20 or say E25 to E85, we term as flex fuel. So how do you evaluate it? So the first level, the E25, the last limit E85, both should meet the emission norms. And India will be the first country to implement BS6 flex fuels. Brazil also has got almost BS4 sort of a thing. We are 2 steps ahead for that.
Going by petrol consumption estimates and factoring in a blend of 20% ethanol, India will require 1,016 crore litres of ethanol in 2025. The public sector oil marketing companies are also setting up 2G biorefineries. It can also potentially divert a lot of crop waste that would have otherwise been burned and added to air pollution.
The vehicle manufacturer is one of the key spokes of the whole supply chain. The others are the producers, and Praj also plays a very critical role in that, because they were one of the leaders, I can say, who spearheaded this revolution of bringing ethanol and talking about it, trying to see what is the best way, the best solutions to bring about it. So they have been continuously working on it. Other than that, they have been also thinking on beyond gasoline ethanol blends also. That was a major step, like they thought about the diesel ethanol blend, is it workable? Some pilot studies they have done on that. So their production methodology, they are continuously improving. That is very important in the supply chain, because in the end we are looking at net zero, the greenhouse gas emission. So it starts from the production till the tailpipe emission. So you need a continuous improvement to be done. And I find them to be very focused on that and doing an excellent job in that manner.
The Praj Infinity technology is a world-class technology, globally benchmarked. It's an end-to-end biorefinery. Which means that it takes any type of feedstock, whether it is straw or any lignocellulosic biomass, and converts it into multiple products. Right? So ethanol is one of them. You can make aviation fuel, bio-CNG, biofertilizers, biomaterials, lots of things can be made out of it. So it's multi-feedstock and multi-product. It's also, I believe, the lowest water consumption, zero liquid discharge, lowest energy, highest yields, highest efficiency technology. So it's really a global game changer technology. India has made a commitment to achieve net zero by 2070. And if you look at where are we today, we are about importing 350 million tons of carbon in the form of fossil fuel. We burn it to produce our energy in different forms, including fuels. And because of that burning, we release about 2.6 to 2.7 gigatons of CO2. We are the world's 3rd or 4th largest emitter. We have to make that transition to cleaner fuels, but not at the cost of importing energy. We have also to be self-sustaining, Atmanirbhar. So India has to look at a significant growth in energy to meet its GDP growth. We are targeting about $5 to $8 trillion economy by 2030, right? And that requires a lot of energy. I think the estimates are by 2050, we will almost double our energy needs from 34 exajoules to about 75 exajoules.
Biofuel is an important solution for the CO2 mitigation strategies in the economy, a fact that has been recognized by India's recent policy move to encourage the use of biofuel blends. Internationally, various countries have adopted biofuels and are in the process of reducing their dependency on other sources of energy. The United States and Brazil currently dominate the biofuel market with a combined share of 87% as of 2018, followed by various countries in the European Union. India is catching up fast.
The use of ethanol will also aid India's Conference of Parties commitments to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC, where it has stated that 50% of its energy requirements will be met from renewable energy by 2030. So, while ethanol production has good potential in India, the question arises, in an EV future, will there be demand for internal combustion engines? And the answer to that is yes. Internal combustion engines vehicles will still form the majority for the next decade at least. The Indian passenger car market is expected to grow from 3 million units last year to 7 million units in 2030. Of this, while estimates vary widely, nearly all agree that EVs will not exceed 30%, which means even at that level, a massive 5 million odd units will still be driven by internal combustion engines. It's clear that something needs to be done to reduce these emissions too, which is where the government's E20 plan plays a part. With a 20% ethanol blend, not only will the country be reducing its crude imports, it will also mean a cleaner fuel is being burned, as ethanol, being plant-based, has the lowest carbon emissions on a well-to-wheel basis.
When it goes to 20% blending, I think we are talking of something like $2.7 billion of GDP impact that 20% blending can make. If even 10% of India's residual biomass, which I talked about 500 million tons of biomass available, even if 10% of that is converted into biofuels, primarily ethanol, that would amount to about $2.7 billion of impact on our GDP in the form of foreign exchange savings, in the form of farmer income increase and import substitutes. So it's a mammoth impact that one can talk about.
Alongside ethanol, compressed biogas, CBG, is fast emerging as a promising gaseous form of biofuel for transport sector. CBG offers similar socio-economic and environment benefits like ethanol. Identifying potential benefits of CBG, Government of India has institutionalized a very progressive policy initiative, SATAT, Sustainable Alternative Towards Affordable Transportation, that will promote CBG production and usage in transportation sector. The Sustainable Alternative Towards Affordable Transportation scheme, launched in October 2018, aims to establish an ecosystem for production of compressed biogas, CBG, from various waste biomass sources in the country. Ethanol supplies have improved from 380 million litres in 2013-14 to 1.89 billion litres in 2019. A total of 1 lakh crore rupees worth of biofuel will be purchased every year by oil marketing firms in the future for blending. This money will be ploughed back to the rural economy. This arrangement also improves the health of the payment cycle to farmers, since oil marketing companies settle their ethanol dues to distilleries in 21 days, instead of the months that the farmers had to wait for their payment from sugar mills.
What happened here is many people produce paddy straw, which availability is good, and firstly they are burn it, which is not good for our environment, and nowadays they got some money for that and they are very happy. And farmers call us and say that our paddy straw get it and we can collect it and give it to this price plant, which is also extra income for the farmers.
मेरे पास मक्का का पीक है, वो इस खेती में जो रहता है ना, तो जलने को तुमको देने का है ना, तो ये वास्तव ऐसा बोलता है मैं कि तो हमको जो तुमको देने का हमको खेती का जो खर्चा होता है वो निकलता है.
आप गहू मी करायचं ना तर ते जाळून टाकत होतो आम्ही बूस काटणे गेलेले. ते आता कंपनीला द्यायला लागल्यामुळे आम्हाला 4 पैसे मिळेल. जाळून टाकण्यापेक्षा 4 रुपये मिळतात आमचा खर्च निघतो. जे खर्च होतो ना तेवढा मिळतो आम्हाला. कापायचा, भरडायचा, खत पाणी तेवढं होतं वरचीवर जाळून टाकण्यापेक्षा.
जे आम्ही मका वगैरे करतो ना त्याचा जे भुसा निघतो ना तो टाकून जे द्यायचं तर आम्ही इकडे कंपनीला देऊन आम्हाला पैसे मिळतात त्याचे.
We decided to take a tour of the Praj industry and take a closer look at its indigenously developed technology processes to produce a variety of products.
In 2016, we have started setting up this demonstration, and within 9 months of period we mechanically completed, and in 2017 we started operating this plant. This is the first plant of Asia which consumes 12 tons of biomass per day and producing 3.3 kiloliters per day ethanol. That is the speciality, and nobody in the Asian zone has demonstrated this type of scale and technology on a viable scenario of the farmers. As a process, this biomass is coming from the fields in baled form. Suppliers are there, so FPO is the model what we promoted, so that everybody will get the job. From biomass baling, debaling to this
first processing is milling. From milling, it is going for the washing, where all inert material get washed out. And from washing, it will go to first step of your pre-treatment. So in pre-treatment, particularly, we are observing that all the inbound sugars should get released. So C5, C6 sugars are getting separated in pre-treatment. Then we are doing it for the enzymatic hydrolysis. Further to that is fermentation. Once fermentation over, your ethanol is out. Then whatever the solid liquids are there, those solids are lignin rich, from where we are developing the concept. Now it is going to be launched very soon as a lignin to biobitumen.
So road construction takes over?
Yes, so entirely biomobility platform, which required for the transport in road making as transport fuel for all cars. It is going to be produced from this plant. Not only that, even for the spent wash whichever is coming out, we are producing the compressed biogas from that. So entire process is zero liquid discharge.
The big shift happened in 2018 when the central government announced a new biofuel policy with a 4-year target of blending 10% ethanol with petrol. And leading the bandwagon is Praj Industries, which is India's biggest biofuel technology company with a market share of 70% in ethanol production.
With the goal of providing environmentally friendly solutions, Praj Industry also established an R&D center in the very first decade of its inception. It conducts research in the emerging areas of industrial biotechnology like second-generation biofuels, advanced biochemicals, and health and wellness products. It has 16 well-equipped laboratories which include microbiology and molecular biology, bioprocess technology, process engineering, and chemical sciences. The facility also has a state-of-the-art fermentation scale-up facility of 1,000 liters.
This is the pilot plant facility for sustainable aviation fuel. So, in this sustainable aviation fuel, there are 2 steps. So, first one is production of isobutanol. So, isobutanol will be the intermediate product, and after that, through 3 typical chemical reactions, we'll get our sustainable aviation fuel. In addition to that, we also will have a high energy fuel called isooctane, with that which can go for high end applications such as you can see Grand Prix races. So those require high octane fuels. So that high octane fuel also you will generate. But
so it
all
might
this
be a possibility that in due course of time we might see F1 races happening in these biofuels.
Exactly, sure, you can envisage that. Rather, we are also envisaging that. But this will be a co-product. Our main focus is having a sustainable aviation fuel which can be blended with your regular aviation fuel in some kind of percentage as regulated by our aviation ministry.
As India's biggest biofuel technology company, Praj has footprints in over 100 countries across 5 continents. And the man who is responsible for taking it to dizzy heights is its executive chairman, Dr. Pramod Chaudhary, an alumnus of IIT Bombay. He is the first Asian recipient of this global honor that recognizes his exemplary work in bioeconomy.
I think these awards have come for the first time to India. In fact, both are from USA. One is in the name of George Washington Carver, who was the pioneer in what is called as industrial biotech. And it is in his honor this award was bestowed, and I was recipient 2 years back in 2020. So this is one recognition of India, that India is doing some work in this space. That is more of a matter of pride for me, more than me, that India being recognized as a country which is doing some work. The second award came just this year, in the March of this year, which is William Homburg Award. He was the person who started the biofuel movement in USA on behalf of DOE. And that has also become a very important thing. In fact, this is the first time this award has gone outside USA. So both awards are very prestigious. Along with the climate actions and support to the farming community and the mankind, I think this plays a very, very important role in the future of the country. And that's where R&D is the backbone. And we consider this R&D, our R&D center, as the backbone for our future journey. We do a lot of work in this area because to create an edge and keeping that edge continuously sharpened, that we are able to move forward. And every day there is something new is coming up. The flex fuel car, which will blend different percentage of ethanol and gasoline or petrol. Then we are looking at bioplastics, the entire range of bioplastics, which is emerging out, and that will be another area where we are working on. You've seen here a lot of work is going on there. Like that, then we are looking at SAF, Sustainable Aviation Fuel. So there's a list of various development work we have to do, and which will have a lot of potential going forward. Not only the business potential, luckily the country under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister is making strides in this area. They genuinely believe that these are the areas which are going to be helpful to take care of climate action. And I think we are really contributing our bit of it for that, where you can see that the next generation is saved or at least taken care of by taking action today. We have made a lot of inroads in those. I can give one example. You heard of the country called Colombia. So their entire policy of biofuels is based on our inputs. You can imagine, all the way to Colombia was known for once upon a time for drugs and all that. In that country we could make a dent. And they are next to Brazil, but they preferred Praja's technology, Praja's approach, and we could establish almost 7 plants in that country that the sugars are getting converted into biofuels, and they are really able to get benefited from that.
Volatility in international crude oil market is driving prices of petrol and diesel up. This is adversely affecting not just family budgets, but also the nation's economy. The time couldn't be more opportune to promote and expedite the usage of environment-friendly captive sources, biofuels, and the definitive step marching towards India's goal of 5 trillion economy.
That's all in this special program on Doordarshan. Hope you like our special telecast on biofuel and its related policy matters. I, along with my camera person Smoothi Ranjan, take your leave, but don't go anywhere as lots more lined up on the other side.